it was during Pesach already where I found my tooth was hurting me. And I wasn't sure what it was. It was like one of my last teeth. And I couldn't figure out why is it hurting me, and it was hurting me spontaneously. I was eating something, and every time I started to chew on the left side of my mouth, I felt some sort of pain. And then it went away. I thought, okay, pain comes and goes. It's not a big deal. And I'm not going to pay too much attention to it. So I ignored it. And then a few days into Pesach, all of a sudden I wake up one morning and my jaw is hurting. Something's wrong. So I make an appointment to the dentist. Right after Pesach, I go to the dentist. And I tell them, my tooth is hurting me, something's bothering me. And they take a look at the x-ray, and they tell me, you have a wisdom tooth growing out, and it's growing right into the tooth next to it, which is very common. It's common, it happens a lot, and it's very painful. I say, okay, great, so let's get it out. He says, well, I'm not an oral surgeon. I'm just a dentist. I could only tell you what you need to fix. But I could fix cavities, but I could extract teeth, but not a wisdom tooth. Wisdom teeth, especially in your case, because it's under the gum, and it's a little bit complicated situation, you're going to have to go to an oral surgeon. I said, okay, do you know any good oral surgeons? He says, yeah, I'll give you a few numbers. Call them up, make an appointment, and, it will cost you some money. Oh, really? How much? Only about $800 to take out one tooth. I'm like, $800 to take out one tooth? He says, yeah, listen, it's a job, so, you have to pay something. You'll pay something, but in the end, you won't be in pain anymore. I said, listen, I'm desperate. My mouth is really hurting me. I can't wait any longer. I went and I dialed the number that he gave me, one after another number, and the secretary picks up and says, hello. I said, yeah, I'm looking to get an appointment. When's the next available appointment? In a month and a half. I'm like, a month and a half? Like my tooth is hurting me right now. And every secretary told me the same thing. Listen, you asked me when the next appointment is. That's when the next appointment is. I can't do anything earlier. So I said, I can't wait for a month and a half to get rid of my wisdom tooth. And everyone's charging $800 whatever for this. And some people said, you could come in for an evaluation, but then we're probably going to give you an appointment like 3 months from now. I'm not going to wait for 2 months. So I'm thinking, I'm sitting in my car outside of the dentist's office. I call all these numbers. I'm thinking, Hashem, I'm in pain. And I'm putting my full reliance on you. I don't know what's going to be for the next month and a half. I'm going to be walking around with a lot of pain in my mouth. But Hashem, it's all up to you. You could find me a dentist, and a good dentist, and an oral surgeon, somebody that's going to come and going to just get rid of that wisdom tooth, and that's it. I won't be in pain anymore. All of a sudden, as I'm talking to Hashem in the car, I get this thought that comes to my mind. 2 years ago, I was walking down the street, and I bumped into a friend of mine, a childhood friend of mine, just randomly. I just walked into him, and I don't know why, I just thought to ask him, hey, what are you up to nowadays? What do you do? What's your profession? He tells me, I'm an oral surgeon. So I say, oh, that's so nice. I'm a teacher, and I've been in for a while. I didn't really talk to him after that. I got his number for some reason. We exchanged numbers. It was so nice to see you again. And that was it. I'm like, wait a second, Greg. I remember Greg. Let me call him up. Tell him, maybe you could help a brother out. So I call him up and I tell him, listen, Greg, how you doing? He says, great. It's great to hear from you. I said, you're an oral surgeon, right? He's like, yeah. So I didn't want to ask him, can you do me a favor? I said, hey, do you know any oral surgeons that maybe you could help me? So he says, oh, you actually called the right person. Don't worry about it. I got you. And I'm like, yeah, you got me when? Like in 2 months? He says, no, I got you this Friday. I'm like, no way. He says, yeah, don't worry about it. And I work in a hospital and it's free. I'm like, what do you mean it's free? No one takes it for free. No one just does things for free. What's going on, Greg? He says, no, you don't understand. It's free because your insurance is going to cover you. I'm like, what do you mean? Other places don't even take my insurance. I thought insurance doesn't even cover this. He says, no, when you go to a hospital, they have to take insurance. So because I work in a hospital, lucky for you, it's going to be free for you. So come Friday and I'll see you then. I'm like, oh, Hashem, you're so good to me. You saved me. What are the chances? Now, think about that for a moment. I could have been walking down the street. If it was just 2 minutes later, I would have missed him. You know what I mean? What are the chances? You try to meet a person at the same time, you mess up. Here, Hashem orchestrated it that you should meet the person that you're meant to meet at the perfect location, at the perfect time, so that both of you could meet, so 2 years later, he could fix your tooth. But the story doesn't end there. Listen to this. That Friday, I call him up, I'm like, Greg, it's Friday. You're not going to let me down, right? I'm coming to you to get my tooth extracted. He says, I'm so sorry to tell you this, but I literally just found out that the hospital has an energy shutdown, and they're not registering people right now. We never had this at all, and we're going to have to postpone this till Monday. Monday, I'll be back at work. I'll take you Monday. I said, oh man, I can't wait for another few days like this. I'm like, you know what? It's better than a month and a half. I'll wait. And so I waited. Monday was my birthday. So what a birthday gift that was for me. Hashem says, I'm going to remove your pain from you. I'm going to give you your wisdom tooth. So,
This happened recently?
This just happened. So I'm like, okay, Monday it is. I go to work. I took some Motrin, to make sure it doesn't hurt me that too much. And then I go to Greg in the hospital. And then, as Greg is working, and before I went, I started to think, like, how long is Greg even working as an oral surgeon? Maybe he's a student. Maybe he's just testing on me. I mean, listen, he's a nice guy. I like him a lot. I was friends with him growing up. I mean, he was smart in school, but like, how do I know he knows what he's doing? What if he's going to mess up on me? What if he's just literally using me as an experiment? He told me it's free. I mean, this is a little too suspicious. He told me, yeah, come on in Friday. Sorry, it didn't work out. Come back Monday. I'm like, come on. There's got to be something going on over here. So I quickly go and look him up. And they call him the tooth extraction expert online. He has extracted 1,000 teeth. And he is finishing with his residency in 3 weeks from now. That means I didn't get some student in the hospital. He's becoming a real oral surgeon. He's getting his own office. In 3 weeks from now, he's working in Roslyn. And when I got there, I was like, hey, Greg, I looked you up online. Is it true that you're only here for another 3 weeks or something? He says, yeah, I'm only here for another 3 weeks. That's it. I'm done with my residency. I already got my job. In 3 weeks from now, I'm a professional oral surgeon already. So I'm not getting some student. I'm getting a professional who knows what he's doing. Hashem sent me the perfect person who knows how to get my tooth out, to relieve me from the pain at the perfect time, 2 years back. So can you imagine such a thing? Again, that's putting your full faith in Hashem. That's putting your full reliance on Hashem. I went to him, Baruch Hashem. They also have this thing about him online that he does it in a very easy way. I'm promoting him right now. Yeah, I know. Get his number, call 1-800-GREG. No, I'm kidding. So I'm telling you, he's really good, and people give all type of comments on him. He does such a good job, and you don't even feel any pain. It's painless, and Baruch Hashem, he really did a good, amazing job. And Baruch Hashem, after that, I was thanking him so much. He says, of course, if you ever need me, I'll be working in another place in 3 weeks from now. And then he tells me like this. He says, by the way, I know that when I get out of here from this hospital, I'm going to actually charge money. I'm not going to be able to take insurance anymore. I said, 1 second. You're not going to take insurance anymore. That means that I caught you at the perfect time. If my tooth would have hurt me in 3 weeks from now, I would have lost this opportunity. And I would have to wait a month and a half to get an appointment somewhere. But Hashem made sure my tooth should hurt right now so I could catch you at the right time before you leave the hospital, so then I don't have to pay and I could get it as soon as possible. So because you work in the hospital, you had a pull and you got me in, and then the insurance. Now it turns out that hospitals have to take insurance. Why? Because not everyone could pay. So people who are emergency cases go to the emergency room, and not everyone could pay, so they have to take insurance. But other doctors who are professional and they already have their own practice, they don't want to take insurance because insurance is not going to give them enough money. So they listen. You're desperate, so you'll pay money. But here, he did me a favor, and in the end, it all worked out for the best. There's one PS to the story. I have to say it because I just think it's just amazing how Hashem works. After I got the tooth extraction, I felt like a little ball in my mouth. And I'm like, I call Greg, I'm like, is everything okay? Like, I feel something in my mouth. He says, yeah, don't worry about it. It's called a blood clot. You guys know what a blood clot is? Okay, a blood clot is basically when blood congeals. And in my case, what happened is that when you get your wisdom tooth extracted, there's a wound that's open. And it's susceptible to all types of bacteria and to germs. So what happens is the blood clot closes up that area to make sure that no bacteria and no germs will enter. Did your body just know magically how to do that on its own? I mean, the body says, don't worry about it. I got you. You go take care of what you have to take care of. I'm going to make sure that you don't get any germs and bacteria into your body. I'm closing up this area. And also it keeps it moist. And there's like 100 reasons online why you get blood clots. And all of them were just coincidence. All of them were just as a cause of the Big Bang Theory. All of them was just evolution. Somehow your body just knows how to do this all on its own, without a creator who skillfully thought all of this through, who fine-tuned the universe so perfectly. I mean, I'm just thinking about like, wow, Hashem put a blood clot and then it dissipates on its own. It goes away when the wound is closing up. So that this story happened like 2 weeks ago, and Baruch Hashem, I don't feel pain anymore. I'm good. But I think that Hashem deserves applause for this. This is amazing. I mean, the fact that Hashem sent this guy to me, I'm telling you, you're clapping for him right now. You're clapping for Hashem. This is all for Hashem. Hashem, you created blood clots. You created Greg. Thank you, Hashem, for creating both. And and I'm really grateful to both of them.